Hi, welcome to this YouTube channel. Today, I'll be sharing with you on the 7 lies that are told against the church. And before I do that, I'd like to make an appeal that you should please subscribe to this YouTube channel and then turn on your notification bell so that whenever we put out new content, you'll be the first to be aware about it, you'll be the first to shout about it, you'll be the first to engage with it, and then share with family, friends, and loved ones. Please enjoy this video. God bless you. So I'm going to be talking about the 10 lies that has been told or that is being told against the church. And these lies are told by people who probably have been in the church, have had experiences, or they are people who are far from the church. They do not have an experience or know anything necessarily to do with church. And when I'm talking about church, I like to define specifically the idea and the concept of church. When I talk about church, I'm talking about the ecclesia, the body of Christ. I'm talking about globally, generally, the concept, the idea, the principle, the concept of that believers gathering together, the concept of the practice of Christianity. That is what I mean by church. So I'll just jump right into the first, lie that is told against the church. The first lie that is told against the church is that the church is a business. Now, what I mean by that is that you probably have heard or seen people talking about how that, man, if school doesn't go down well for me, if business doesn't go down well for me, if work doesn't go down well for me, it'd be like, and that's broken English in Nigerian language. I mean, I think the best thing to do is to just open a church because it seems as though it's a lucrative business. Now, that is a lie. And that lie has led many people to start up what God has not told them to start. It has led many people to do crazy things and you do not want to think about it. Some other people believe that because pastors are blessed, right? So it looks like these people are making a business out of church. But that is not necessarily the case. I know that yes, there are little loopholes here and there, but you can only count a handful when you're talking about the global picture of what church is. So you should not use the percent that is little, to justify or qualify or describe a whole. That in itself would not be fair. So church is not necessarily a business. Of course, it is kingdom business, because even Jesus, while he was on earth, would say, don't you know that I'm supposed to be about my Father's business to his parents when they asked him where he was. Now, the second lie that is told against the church, and these lies are purported intentionally. The second lie is that pastors are fraudsters. Yes, you probably have had that, you probably have even said that, you probably have even encountered people who truly, are pastors or call themselves pastors, and one way or the other, exhibited the traits of being a fraudster. That in itself is undeniable that we are living in the 21st century and people are doing crazy stuff. But that should not describe that a pastor, as to what we know a pastor originally is that, as a fraudster. You cannot describe that a pastor is a fraudster or that pastors are fraudsters because of one encounter you've had or two encounters you've had, or just a notion that is perceived, that is spread on the media, spread about by people who are antichrist. Or when I mean antichrist, that is a hard word, but people who are against church, people who are against Christ. So you probably have had people who are just bitter about the church. People are bitter about Christ. And generally speaking, Christianity is one of those, faiths that is hated by a whole lot of people. So pastors are not necessarily fraudsters. Yes, there are loopholes here and there, that may have happened that has made it look like, nasty experiences of people have caused for people to have the thought that pastors are fraudsters. That is lie number 2 that is told against the church. Then the lie number 3, right, that is told against the church is that you do not need to submit to anybody. So you probably have been in a place where or you've been in a place where you needed advice, you needed counsel, or somebody needed around you counsel or advice, and the best option, was that, okay, let me go and ask my pastor, let me go and speak to my mentor or my spiritual father. And unfortunately, someone around was like, why do you need to do that? Don't you have a father at home? This kind of stuff. Don't you have another brother and all of those? Which is, I'm not disputing that you can also do that, because consult with these people, because they are, of course, naturally they are, if they are part of the church, it's not a problem, and naturally you can be accountable to these people. But what I mean by you being submitted to somebody is that the idea of accountability, because today people do not want to be accountable one to another. People would prefer to just do stuff at the background, and nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody is involved in their lives. So if they misbehave or mess up, nobody gets to correct them. Nobody gets to caution them. If they need advice or counsel, they feel like they're on their own. I'm the boss here. I own my life. I don't need anybody to come into my life and tell me what I need to do or what I need to know. That in itself is a big lie, and it's a lie it's a lie from the pit of hell, that you do not need to submit to somebody. Because we know from and this message, or what I'm sharing, necessarily is not for everybody. It's for Christians, it's for believers to be on the watch out, to know how to navigate the times and the seasons. So you find out that people are having a problem with the concept of submission. So somebody can tell you, I cannot submit to any man. And you see that has even gone to marriage, because in the way it works in kingdom or in church is that we see from the life and the principle of Jesus submitting to the cross in submission to God or in submission to Christ, and that goes to even marriage. People do no longer have or see the place for accountability. Remember, I said submission is the idea of submitting one to another, accountability. So even in the church, people do not want to submit to another. In marriages, that is also the case. So do not buy into that lie that you do not need to submit to anybody. The fourth lie that is told against the church is that you can know God for yourself. You don't need anybody. If you've bought into this lie, you've literally been cheated, and cheated in the sense that, yes, you can know God personally for yourself. It's all good. It's okay. But you see, where you will be cheated is that you can know God for yourself, but you need the addition of other people. You need to learn lessons from people. You need to associate. Learning or knowing God for oneself is associative. So you can know God for yourself, but it is only to the degree to which you associate to other people that you can know more of God, and you can know God in a holistic concept and in a holistic way. So I give an example. So brother A has a deposit of God in him that brother B does not have. Now, if brother A cannot relate, with brother B in trying to deposit the aspect and the knowledge of God that he has, and same way brother B tries to deposit in brother A, there's literally going to be a long ranging kind of walk with God. So you do not even know how to relate with people, because that will lead me to the next point, to say that you don't need physical church fellowship is the fifth lie. So these two are similar, that you do not need anybody, you can know God for yourself. That is one lie you must fight. The next lie, which is the fifth lie, is that you do not need to go to church physically. After all, I'm using a camera to record this video. Technology is all good. You can just stream online. You can watch a meeting or church program on YouTube or Facebook, and you are good to go. You are blessed. You can catch a Rhema word. You can be prophesied to virtually, and all of that. I do not kick against that, because I do that as well at times, once in a while, when the need arises, right? I do that. And when I mean that I do that, I mean it in the sense that I attend normal services, I attend church services, but peradventure I need to catch up with a special program in another country, in another location that I cannot catch up with. There's nothing I can do but to stream online. But in the case where you have a physical church, right? And when I mean church, I mean the assembling, the fellowshipping of brethren, it is important that by all means you should not forsake the gathering of the believers, for that is what the fathers of the faith have instructed. That is what we know as doctrine, as the tenets of the faith. If someone comes to you preaching to you that you should not do this, you should not do that, man, look at the Bible and know what the Bible is telling you, or else you'll be cheated by the fables and fallacies of men. Now, the sixth, lie that they have been selling to people, and people have been buying sadly about church, is that do not give to church. People have literally had the mind to say, don't give to church. And the people who are doing online, or rather telling all these lies, interestingly, are not people that are church people. So you can imagine somebody coming to your house to tell you your son is not your son, or your daughter is not your daughter. Something that which you should know, that which you should handle. Somebody comes your way and then begins to tell you false fables and lies that they themselves do not have any right to say. They are not certified either by God or Jesus or church to say those things. They just want to confuse you, and if you're not careful, you'll be confused as many have been confused. So when I mean do not give to church, it could cut across the whole idea of church givings, offerings or tithes, or sowing your seeds to your pastors or ministers of God. They just believe, now this is where they try to balance it up. They believe you should just go and just do philanthropy and you're good to go. God loves you for being philanthropical. So you can just be, a Bill Gates in your own right. You can just be, a Jeff Bezos, or whatever the case is that just does philanthropy. What that seeks to cheat you off is that you begin to feel like, there's no need of even associating with Jesus. You can just be good, and that begin to water down the place of salvation, the cross, and the basics of the faith. In that subtle way, it can sap out the reality of Christianity from your work and your journey as a believer. So I'm not watering down that you should not do philanthropy, right? But the balance is that Jesus went about doing good, but we also know that Jesus came to die for the sins of men. So do not buy into the lie that you should not give to church, that people, your pastor will steal the money, it will be misused. Listen, I know that they are just the same way in the world system. They are messed up systems. In fact, there are messed up, corrupt practices in the world system. So how can someone from the world system that is corrupt come to church to correct you? That is the light of the world and the salt of the earth. Think it through. Does it make sense? It doesn't really make sense. So I believe that point has really been made. Now, the seventh lie that is told against the church is that church should not engage in society. So you find people saying, just mind your business, do not go into politics. What is your problem with being a superstar? What is your problem with being a celebrity? What's your problem with being an actor? Just stay in your niche. And you see, doing that has folded up the opportunity for you to witness at the level of power. The corridors of power, politics. It has shut you down from witnessing on the football pitch as a footballer if you're a believer, because you believed, or you were told to believe that you should not play football because you're a Christian. You were told to believe you should not sing good music, and even God music importantly, because you're a Christian. You are told so many things that you should just stay in your comfort zone. But you see, we are told to go into all the earth and make disciples of every nation. That lie has eaten deep into the church, that it is right now that people are waking up and becoming evangelists and marketplace apostles on different mountains of influence. So